I want to talk about savings and emotions and what emotions are we picking when you are trying to save. Okay, so you see, we've had you find yourself trying to save, and then all of a sudden you are unable. You find yourself using that money that you were planning to save, and having an emergency that needs you to tap into that cash, or let's first talk about cash. That cash that you wanted to save, and then you find yourself having to use it. Maybe you had told yourself, I want to have plus minus 2,000 rand on my savings account that I'm not going to touch. That's just going to be the money that I have saved, and boom, you have an emergency that wants you to tap into that money, that wants you to use that money, and then you find yourself having to use it again, and then starting over again, and then sometimes getting discouraged, and you think, you know what, I don't want to, I'm not going to do this thing, it doesn't work. So today I just want to talk about savings and emotions. Guti, what kind of emotion are you putting when you're trying to save? Are you doing it because you want to, or are you doing it because you think people should do? You're hearing people saying everyone should save, or you're doing it because it's something that you think it has to be done. Those three options. You're doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because people say an ordinary person must save, or you're doing it because you think it's something that's got to be done. So why are you saving? First of all, let me just address the saving part. Saving is in a lot of forms. I wanted to say two, and then I remembered it's actually more than that. Okay, so the first one, I'm just going to tap into three, I think. The first kind, the first form of saving will be you putting money aside, saying, okay, every month I want to put in 200 rand on the side, and I'm going to save 200 rand. That's the first form of saving. The second form of saving will be, you know what, I'm using 600 rand a month for lunch or for transport. I can actually save and say, I'm going to have my lunch box and not buy lunch. That's the second form of saving. Or you can say, okay, you know what, I'm going to walk to work. I can actually walk to work. Oganye, I'm going to get a ride from my colleague. We're going to use the same car, and I'll only pay her. If you were using like 600 rand for petrol, and then you agree with your colleague, okay, we're going to use my transport and we're going to share the cost. So I'm using 600 rand, so it means we're going to share the cost, pay 300 rand each. And if you agree to say we're going to alternate, maybe a person is like worried about the warranty of the car, the wear and tear of the car, and you'll be like, okay, let's share. This month I am using my car, the following month we are using your car, so we're saving on both the kilometers, we're saving on the petrol, we're saving on transport money. So there's both ways. That's the second option to save, saying you're cutting down on a certain expense that is coming to you on monthly basis, like your lunch money or your transport money. The third one would be saving on the interest on your loans. Let's just say you've got debt, and debt is to be serviced. So when you're servicing debt is serviced by two things. You've got service fees, you've got interest rates that you pay. So you can say, when you want to save on debts, you can say, you know what, if I add an additional 200 rand on this installment that I'm paying, I can actually save about 3,000, 5,000 rand on installment. I was doing a debt payment plan for a lady not so long ago. She had about her balance was about 15,000 rand, and an additional amount of 100 rand. We could calculate what she would save about 4,000 rand on interest. So though that's another form of saving. You might not see a direct it, but it is a way of saving. So I'm just going to talk about those three types. So now you think of saving that type. The third one of debt, the second one of cutting down on costs, the first one of saying, you know what, I want to put money aside, 200 rand aside. Okay, let's look at the first one. So now, feelings. How how are your emotions around it? Are you comfortable with you putting money aside? Does it feel like a pain to you, or it's just you're doing it because someone else said they are doing it, so it's not in your heart, you're not feeling it, you know? So what happens with that 200 rand? You find yourself, oh, okay, I'm saving this amount of money, putting 200 rand aside. You know what's going to happen most of the time if your heart is not into it, because now you haven't set a target for yourself. Uguti, my point of saving this 200 rand is actually to have 1,200 rand at the end of the year, so that I use that amount to buy clothes for my kids. Just making an example. You're saving it because you just want to save it. You don't know what is it you're saving it for. You're just saving it because you have to save it. You've heard people saying you cannot be employed, or you cannot have income and not save. You're just doing it. Most of the time what happens is every time you have something to do, that 200 rand is always going to be an option. So whatever you think you need to go to town, you need to go anywhere, you have an option of that 200 rand, because that 200 rand, you haven't given it a responsibility of this is what I want to do with this amount of money, this is what I want to do with this 200 rand. You are not giving it a responsibility. I am saving this money so that I get to do this at the end of the year, or so that I get to have this at the end of the term, or after I have saved. I want to have, let's just say I'm just creating an emergency fund. There is no way I cannot have an emergency fund. So I want my emergency fund to be 15,000 rand, or I want it to be 1,200 rand. So for me to do that, I need to save this amount of money, that is the 200 rand. So if you're doing it just for the fun of it, because other people are doing it, it is always going to have something to do even before the month ends. So what is going to happen is you'll find yourself having an emergency just created out of nowhere. The petrol iphele, uphele isishewe endlini, and you have to buy it, because in your mind it's always there. You always like, I have 200 rand that I have saved. So for you have not allocated that 200 rand for something, so now it's always an option. So it always makes it difficult for you to actually say, I cannot touch that money because I am saving it for this thing. So now, why are you now you need to be emotionally attached to your savings, so that the purpose for you to save is driven. So if you don't have a purpose for you to for these savings, you're not going to be able to drive it. You're just going to do it for the fun of it, and it's not going to see any significance. It's not going to have any significance in your life, because now it's just there for you to do it. So if you want to start saving, and you must give that saving amount the responsibility, so that it knows what is it for. And when you do that, you are putting it into your subconscious mind. You are training your mind, I am not going to touch this 200 rand, because the purpose of this 200 rand is for me, when it reaches 1,200, I go and buy my kids clothes for winter, or Christmas clothes, or whatever that you want to buy, whatever that you are targeting. So you want to have a purpose for your saving. You're not putting money aside just because today you have received income, your salary has been paid, and it looks like there's a lot of it, and you're just saying, I don't want to use all of it at once. I just want to put 1,000 rand aside in case this 1,000 rand in case my salary runs out. Because if you do it like that, you might as well leave it in your account and wait for the 17,000, if you're getting paid 17,000 rand, and wait for the 17,000 rand to run out, and then you touch into that 1,000 rand. So very important, when you start to save, check your emotions. Why do you want to save? You want to save because you have to, or you want to save because other people are saving it, or you want to save because there's something that is very close to your heart that you want to do and you want to achieve. And when there is something that is close to your heart that you want to achieve, you are very, very, very much likely to achieve what you want to achieve. Because if you're just doing it just for the fun of it, you are not going to see what are you what you have done with this amount. What is always going to be used. It's always going to find something where it's going to be used at. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, or this English sounds right, but it's always going to have something that you're going to see good. Okay, now I'm out of this, or at least I have this amount of money, and then you go tap into it. If you had planned, okay, I'm going to save 1,000 rand a month and I want to have 12,000 rand by the end of the year, what are you going to do with that 12,000 rand? Do you want to just have it for the fun of it, or do you want to allocate it into something? Do you want to give it a responsibility? Because if you don't have something written or something in your mind that you are saving this 1,000 rand for, you're going to use this 1,000 rand every third week, or on the very last week of the month, where you are waiting for your salary, and you go like, yo, you know what, I cannot go this broke, and yet I have 1,000 rand waiting in my account. So you will use it, and then come the second month, you want to save 1,000 rand again, and that 1,000 rand you've already used it. So for you, now it no longer makes sense, because you're putting 1,000 rand every month aside, but the 1,000 rand doesn't grow. It just keeps on being 1,000 rand every month that is getting used on the third or second month, or on the third or the second week. So you need to pay attention to that. If you are starting to save, give that savings responsibility. That is now savings number one, the one where you are putting money aside. Saving number two, you're saying now, okay, I'm compromising. I don't want to I'm know what, I'm using like 1,000 rand on lunch money, and yet every day in the afternoon we cook. So why don't I just put in an extra plate, and that extra plate would be my lunch, my lunch. So every time you uphaka emalanga, you put in your skaftini, and you put it there, and then you carry your skaftini in the afternoon. Okay, that's good. So now, first of all, need to know how much are you using for money for lunch. Because if you're saying, you know what, I use a lot of money for lunch, how much is a lot of money? First need to allocate that. If you say, oh, okay, you know what, I've noticed every day I buy a Boxmaster, and the Boxmaster is 50 rand, then you calculate, oh, okay, Gucci, because I use the Boxmaster, I'm using 250 rands a week, which is a lot of money, and I can actually save because I already do groceries at home. So why don't I just after pegile and decide, okay, this is what I am going to lunch. I'm going to have lunch box with me. Okay, so you love lunch. You love lunch box. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, you know what, in Sebenza. I know those things because I used to work in Mangang Sebenza. I would like, you know what, buying lunch makes me feel like in Sebenza, spoiling myself. But it's costing money. It's 250 a month or a week. I have to have 250 a week. And the day I don't have lunch money, I'm morosed because I've taught myself to lunch. Now you decide, okay, you know what, I'm cutting down on lunch money. I'm going to put this thing, a skaftin, I'm going to have a skaftin with me. That one is going to first need you to be disciplined. Teach your mind first. You know what, mind, I am no longer going to buy Kentucky. I am going to have his skaftin. Because if you haven't spoken to your mind, you haven't spoken to yourself, I am going to use use this kaftin. Kuzafika someone else next door, okanye your colleague, with a what's this Boxmaster, with a Boxmaster, then uzoyikhalela, and your mind will be like, vele lunch benhle ngiyithenga, and you start counting, but you know what, I didn't buy lunch Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, so I can afford to have a 50 rand day one. 50 rand day one won't kill me. Those are the statements that we get so defensive about it. When you want to do something, and then you see, okay, you're getting kind of disturbed. You know what, this thing is not going to kill me anyway. I was surviving anyway. Ngithenga lunch on from Monday to Friday. So now how am I going to die just by buying a lunch for usuku oluyi-1? and then you start again, you go back, kancinci, kancinci, then it becomes it's on Thursday, and then on a Friday you'll be like, you know what, we're celebrating the week, I am buying lunch again. So now you had said you were going to save 250, but now you come back and you save 150. Then the following week, so yanqena to make your lunch box, okanye you come in early in the morning, you get hungry, something that was never there, that was not happening. You get hungry, you eat your skaftini go 9, go 1, you want to have lunch, and then you buy, and then the significance of your skaftini is no longer there, it's no longer served, because now you ate your lunch box as early as 9 o'clock and you're going to be at work until 4. Now, do you honestly, were you getting hungry before you had a skaftini? No, you were not getting hungry before you had a skaftini. But because you haven't spoken to your mind, you haven't told your mind, Uguti, I am going to have lunch at 12. I am going to eat my skaftini, not KFC. I'm going to eat my skaftini. Your mind will make sure, Uguti, it gives you an option for you to buy a lunch in lunch. Does it sink? Can you relate? Because I know I used to be like that. Before, I would be like, I would come out with my skaftini, go 8, 9, when everybody's having coffee, I'm having coffee with my skaftini. 1 o'clock, I'm hungry. Then I'm like, veli lunch, and then I take out the money. So, how do you then now fight this thing? You have your skaftini, okay, good. Speak to your mind, speak to yourself. I am now from today stopping to buy to buy lunch. So I'm going to save you 250 a week. Give your 250 a responsibility. What are you going to do with the 250? Because this is what is going to happen. You save, you say, okay, I'm not using 250, I'm going to save it for the lunch money for 250. And then you'll be like, you know what? I actually saved the 250, but I cannot allocate. I don't know what I've done with it. I cannot allocate it. I don't know where has it gone. I can't see the difference in my life. Everything is still the same. You know why? Because you never gave that 250 the responsibility. So when the moment you decide to cut down on his skaftini, give that money the responsibility that is going to excite you so that you don't stop doing it. Because when you are excited and you're feeling good about it, you then now know, okay, the 1,000 rand that I was using on monthly basis for lunch money, I have now moved that 1,000 rand to maybe reduce my debt. I'm going to pay extra on iskoleti that I'm owing. Let's just say you owe African Bank. I'm going to say take that 1,000 rand and pay extra. Get it even more interesting and say, get someone who's going to calculate for you. I do debt repayment plan. Get someone who's going to calculate for you and be like, okay, now that I've decided to add 1,000 rand, this is how much you are going to save, and you will see the drive of you saying, oh, okay, my adding 1,000 rand, as 2025, I'm actually now going to finish it to 2023. I was going to pay 350,000 rand on my 200,000 rand loan, and now I can see good, oh, okay, I'm actually going to pay you 200,000 rand. So the interest that I'm going to pay to service this loan is going to be less by 45,000 or 60,000, whatever you are owing. But give yourself that excitement, that drive. So the moment you allocate the 250 for you, okay, I was using this 250 for lunch money, but now I'm diverting this 250 to something that excites me. When you get excited about this money that you are saving for lunch money, there is no way you're going to forget to do your lunch hour, to do your food. So the first thing you're going to do, you take out your skaftini, your lunch box, and you give it to the kids. It will register in their mind. You know why? Because now you are excited. You're not going to get hungry and want to eat your skaftini as early as possible. I know I used to do that a lot. You're not going to want to eat your skaftini as early as possible so that you can buy lunch and go to. You're not going to do that. You will know what I've got my skaftini that I'm going to eat and go to. How were you eating in the morning, you're going to continue with your routine. Now you have replaced your Kentucky with your skaftini. Another thing, that might excite you. You know what? When I used to work, eating junk, guys, eating junk is not good. It's not good for us. It's not good for our health. It's not good for our bodies. It's just not good. So if you prepare your own lunch, you actually know what kind of food that you are eating. So now you know for a fact, okay, I'm eating a butternut, it's healthy, and this and this and this and this. You can actually now decide on what is it that you want, and now that can actually drive you to be excited about it. The last one, saving on your debt. I just spoke about it. Uguti, diverting the money that way you were using on your what is this, on your lunch money, diverting it into saying, I'm going to do an additional payment on debt. Again, if you want to do that, you want to know Uguti, how much are you going to save? Because if you just say, no, I've just decided to add 300 rand on my installment, but you don't know Uguti, how much are you saving? You just know Uguti, you just heard Uguti, if you add 300 rand in your account, you can actually save a lot of interest, but you don't know how much you're going to save. Take time and get calculations. Find someone who's going to help you with that and do a calculation. How much are you going to save if you add this additional amount of money? That is also going to drive you and get you excited. The point in savings, for it to be sustainable, you need to be excited about what you are saving for, so that it doesn't get interrupted by your habit that you've already that is already in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind knows you for this person who doesn't save, and it's going to give you all kinds of reasons for you not to save. So for you to be able to save and make it sustainable, do it in a way that is going to excite you, so that you keep up with the momentum. So that is what I wanted to talk about. Check, how are you feeling about it? Because if it doesn't excite you, it's not going to happen. It's always going to be like, what's the point of me paying an extra 300 rand? Whenever you feel stuck on something, you will remember, by the way, anyway, I am paying an extra 300 rand from that installment, so I can actually decrease my installment. So put yourself in a mode of being excited about it, and be happy, and actually know why are you doing it, so that you are able to sustain it and keep it, and keep it going. So that is what I wanted to talk about, guys. Savings, being excited about it, and checking your emotions. Where are you? Are you comfortable with it? How are you feeling about it? How does it look like to you? Does it make you feel excited, or does it make you feel like, you are giving up too much and you just cannot take it, and you don't deserve to go through all of this, Okay, I'll wait for questions if there's any, and I'll go through just to check if anyone has. Hi Malebo, hi everyone. I'm just looking for questions. Makosi says, love this, hi girl. And Linda says, I'm making sense, thank you. And Nyani sa, hi Nyani, yo uninda kugqibela ntombi. It's like they should saying thank you, pearls. And okay guys, there aren't any questions. I'll just give you a few minutes, but there aren't. I don't see any questions. So I have a book, Healing the Wounds of Debt. You can get yourself a copy. It's selling at 200 rand, excluding delivery fee. And I also have a seminar on the when is it, on the 16th. That is Saturday. I'll have a seminar, financial wellness seminar. It's going to be online. You can contact me privately if you are interested in being part of that. It's 250 to be part of that. It's going to be via Zoom for 2 hours, so you can join me. And we're going to be exploring more about money and feelings, debt management, savings, and spending plan. Why spending plans, and why savings, and why debt management, why we should do them, and what is it that we need to do for them to be sustainable, because that's the most important part. Okay, thank you so much, guys. There aren't any questions, so I'm going to log off now. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.